Previously on Maplestory the novel, Sacred Tears.
Am I lying on or against something alive?
I am Ephania, the historian form of the goddess of time, Ariel.
And you did nothing?
You have suffered a great loss all at once. Let your tears come. I will catch them.
She thinks that she's so great just because she can take on another form.
And now the continuation of Chapter 6, Part 3.
A snake is a snake. How am I supposed to know which one behind which around? They all look the same. But did you see the way she panicked when she saw that snake?
The green-eyed being laughed hard, its eyes squinting to slits as it laughed, until they were overshadowed by a soft, blue light.
What mischief have you two been up to this time?
The large being asked. The two shadow beings turned around to see a log-like creature hovering behind them, blue light glowing within the split log of his body.
Oh, come off it, Guwaru. We're just having a little fun.
The blue-eyed being grunted.
As the guardian of the forest, I must scold you for your actions. You may not like humans, but I cannot allow you to do something as deadly as trying to kill a human. It was reckless and uncalled for. If you do this again, I will have no choice but to dispel you.
You're no fun, Grandpa Treebark.
The green-eyed being huffed.
Then I shall spell it out for you. If you continue this destructive path, other humans will come thinking there is a dangerous creature killing humans here. In turn, I will have to protect the forest and only escalate things further.
You're the guardian of the forest. Why would you protect humans? They're so loud and don't really have that much power.
I protect the humans, and, in turn, protect the forest.
Guwaru answered, reaching his hands around the shadow beings and beginning to move back into the forest with them. Both beings sighed in discontent as they were pulled further into the woods.
It's not just us that's causing problems, you know. Other shadows are draining the land of life.
The blue-eyed being squeaked.
Yes, I know. But they are not threatening the life of the forest as of yet. I have no intention of expending unnecessary energy.
Dane kept his eye on the shadows for a while, his senses tingling as he thought he saw two pairs of eyes leave the outer circle before returning to Ephania.
You shouldn't have panicked like that. There are poisonous snakes here in the forest.
Dane huffed, sitting down once his adrenaline high wore off and the weight of Minadora's memory returned.
I will admit I have only been in this form for less than a day. The sensations of that creature were strange. I simply wanted them to stop.
She answered. Dane nodded slightly and put his head in his hands, supporting his elbows with his knees.
Who are you, and why have you been following me? I have never seen you before, and yet you know so much about me.
Dane asked once he had gathered enough strength.
As I said, this body, Ephania, allows me, the goddess Ariel, to be here with you. I have been following you from my temple ever since the disaster in Margata. The amount of power released with the collapse of your great circle is what caught my attention. Ever since then, I felt drawn to you, and so I followed you by extending my mind and vision.
Looking up from his hunched position, Dane turned his gaze to her as thoughts connected.
You have been the presence I felt following me?
Dane probed, watching her smile and softly nod. Dane was unsure as to what he should feel. He was indeed thankful for her presence, which helped his heart from collapsing entirely. At the same time, he felt deceived that the presence he had noticed wasn't Minodora whatsoever.
Then it was you lending me the power to heal those on the brink of death?
Yes, that was also me.
Why? Again, you are a goddess. You could have healed Minodora in an instant, despite the problems. You could have simply healed them all, and yet you limit yourself to helping those that are ill by enhancing my magic.
You misunderstand, White Mage. Your loved one,
Minodora.
Dane snapped.
Minodora, had been touched by a brutal raw force that broke down power, magic, and even life itself. To close the wound and will her body stitch itself back together, it would have taken a massive amount of power to rise above that force. Her life force was too weak and wouldn't have been able to withstand it.
What force do you mean? What is so powerful that it can even break down the power of a goddess?
There is only one person in Euphoria that I know of who created and uses this force. A man within a city called Kritas, named Arcarium.
Dane's eyes became wide as the realization of what prevented Minodora's survival hit him. Anti-magic, or as the Margotans knew it, dark alchemy. Dane's shoulders sank. He allowed its use and even improved it for Dr. Long's experiment. He was the one to blame for Minodora's death, not Russell.
It's all my fault.
He choked. Ephania immediately went to him, putting her hand on his jaw and turning his face to hers.
Oh my God, it's all my fault.
White Mage, Dane, look at me. Look at me.
She urged, getting him to focus on her.
Her death was not your fault. You didn't know what would happen. You didn't force this on her. You are innocent,
she said with conviction, each of her words fighting their way into his mind and calming him.
What about you? You're the goddess of time. You could have seen what would have happened.
Dane countered. Ephania paused. Her lack of attention to the world could have been a factor in this, but this man, this human, needed healing. Telling him the truth now might be more than he would be able to bear.
There would have been no way to foresee this unfortunate outcome until it was too late to do anything. Some paths are hidden to me, and this was one such path.
Dane felt his being quiver with pain once more and wanted to turn away. Ephania turned his head to her once again, her strength easily overpowering his.
I have never experienced the pain of the loss you feel, but let me be the salve to those wounds. Remember Minodora's last words? She said not to let your light die with her. Please. Your light is too pure to let die.
Tears plummeted from Dane's eyes, and his face contorted with grief.
Please, save me,
he whimpered. Ephania pulled him to her chest as he collapsed into her once more, hiding his mourning in the crook of her neck.